We have one more very exciting element to our service today. This is an epic church service. We're going to baptize some people. Yeah. What is baptism? Very quickly. Again, this is something just like communion. Jesus gave it to us and commands us to do it. And this is, we have this tank of water over here. And what this is, this represents a funeral service, at least the first part of a funeral service, in that those who have decided to follow Jesus are acting out what it looks like to be buried with Jesus, to say, I've died. Just as Jesus was crucified and buried in the grave, I have died to my sin. I've died to my way of life. I've died to the ways of the world. I've died to all the demonic powers. I've died to all of that in Jesus, and I've been buried with Jesus. And then as the person is drawn up out of the water, it is a sign of resurrection, saying, I live with Jesus. I trust Jesus. I'm all in for Jesus. So this is a powerful, powerful act to display faith. So we're going to welcome up, we got hopefully two, we got Doris and we got Stephanie. Would both of you come forward? All right, so I'm going to start with Stephanie, and then I'm going to share on behalf of Doris. But Stephanie, let's hear from you.
So 8 months ago, I moved to Chicago. The main reason I moved to Chicago was I was coming for school. But I did feel a strong conviction in my heart that this is where I needed to be. I didn't know why, but I felt like God had called me here. I kept hearing God's voice urging me to go on and asking me if I trusted Him. I did not see for me, I wasn't seeing what was ahead of me, but I kept hearing God's voice to ask me to trust Him and let Him lead the way. I'm from Kenya, and we do experience very nice weather. And everyone was always, why are you going to Chicago? Why Chicago? Of all the places, it didn't make sense to a lot of people. And to me, I did not know why. Why should I go there? And I always ask God, why do you want me to go to Chicago? It just didn't make sense at that time. However, I heeded to God's call, and in January, I did make the bold decision to come here. It was one of the most frightening and isolating plane rides that I ever had, because when you're making a decision to go to a new place, you're always excited because you know it's a new place, you're starting a new life, and it's a new beginning. For me, I felt very confused, but I had God's voice. God's voice kept telling me to trust Him. It was very tough at first because of the weather, and I wasn't able to make a lot of friends here, and it was winter, and everyone understands how winter can get here. It was a very lonely experience, I can say that. And I felt cold, not just the cold because of the temperature, but I felt cold in my heart. Although I had God's voice, I just didn't feel like He was with me. You know, when God feels you, you feel warm. Even if you're cold, you feel His presence and it warms you up. I felt cold. I was alive but dead, if that makes sense. But all I kept hearing was, it was strange, but I could hear God's voice in my heart. And He always kept telling me, do you trust me? Just walk with me, do you trust me? And sometimes I would say, but I can't see where you want me to go. At least give me some vision. I need something to see. But I couldn't see it. But He did walk with me. And while I was going through all that, I was struggling to find a place of worship. I was struggling to find a community where I felt like I fit in. So I struggled with that for a while. And then how did I end up at Trinity? It's very weird. My friend invited me to I live close by. I'd never been to this church. There's someone who was talking about hot dogs and what. For me, my friend invited me and was like, I go to this church. Let's go together and it's just worship. If you don't like it, and I was like, okay, let's do it. So the first day I came to Trinity, I wish I remembered your name, but I don't remember. It was my first time here, and someone was giving out a testimony. So while they were giving out the testimony, I remember they said, sometimes we tend to keep asking God for things, but forget what he has done for us. For me, it was like very basic, just being alive, being here. It's one of the greatest gifts that God had given me. I was breathing, and that just jogged me down memory lane. On Christmas Day in 2020, I got into a really bad accident, and I almost died that day. And just sitting there when that lady was giving out the testimony, it just, I guess that's how I got the revelation. God saved me from my accident for a reason, and there was a reason why I was still here. And for me, that was like just the revelation, because I kept asking him for things. I kept asking for redirection. I just kept asking him for things, but I did not sit down and just look back at what he had done for me. And that day, I really felt peace in my heart. And for once, I felt like how the journey for me, being seated at that place at the right time and just listening to that lady speak about her testimony, it really opened my heart. And just hearing the worship team here sing and just seeing how everyone was just calm, I did feel peace in my heart, and I felt like, yes, this is where I need to be. This was in June. I've been here for around 3 months now, and honestly, I love this place. I feel at peace here, and I feel that God definitely led me here. It's been a strange amount of events, but I am really glad to be here, and I'm really glad to reconnect with God. For some strange reason, I felt for the past 2 years, I felt like I was not at peace. I felt like I knew God, but I just felt like our relationship was not as strong as it used to be. And I had to experience all that I had to experience, and I had to be here at the right place and the right time to re-experience that. And just for me, that does show that God exists. And when God speaks to you, you will know and you will feel it. So that is my testimony.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. We also have Doris here, and just because of some communication challenges, she asked me to share on her behalf. Doris became a believer when she was in her mid-20s, I think. A pastor was sitting down with her and her husband at the time and basically saying, what is the status of your faith? Do you believe? And through that process led her to faith. And she's somebody who loves Jesus, and she loves the Word. So she will listen to the Word. She loves sharing the Word. She doesn't have all the apologetics and all the theology, but she just loves the Bible. She loves Jesus. And recently her daughter Caroline was baptized. And where's Caroline? She's over there. There she is. Recently she was baptized. And yeah. And that inspired Doris as well to say, I want to be baptized. I want to take that step as well. And that's what people in the Bible did. They were baptized if they believed in Jesus. And so it's our privilege to baptize you as well today. So let's head over to the baptism tank, and Andrew and myself are going to baptize you both.